Cybercriminals are not going after company systems anymore. They are going after a company's users. It is important to have security best practices in place, especially practices that include email conduct. When you understand the most common email threats, you're better able to set up protections and policies to help ensure the security of your business. Common threats to email systems include the following. Increasingly, attackers are taking advantage of email to deliver a variety of attacks to organizations through the use of malware or malicious software. That includes viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and spyware. Unsolicited commercial email, commonly referred to as spam, is the sending of unwanted bulk commercial email messages. Related to spam is phishing, which refers to the use of deceptive computer-based means to trick individuals into responding to the email, clicking on some file, or disclosing sensitive information. Spear phishing is a highly specialized phishing attack that targets a specific individual or small group of individuals to collect information in order to gain access to computer systems, networks, and data. Now, let's talk about social engineering. Rather than hack into a system, an attacker can use email to gather sensitive information from an organization's users or get users to perform actions that further an attack. A common social engineering attack is email spoofing, in which one person or program successfully masquerades as another by falsifying the sender information shown in emails to hide the true origin. Unintentional acts by authorized users. Not all security threats are intentional. Authorized users may inadvertently send proprietary or other sensitive information via email, exposing the organization to embarrassment or legal action. So, how to protect from the common threats? Avoid using a personal account for transmitting company data. Make sure that you don't risk your company's security and your job by transmitting sensitive company data via your own personal computer or email address. This includes using your personal email account on the job, as well as sending company documents to your personal account. Your company has a right to see everything you send and receive on your professional account. Assume that all your emails are monitored, and refrain from sending anything you wouldn't be comfortable with your boss seeing. Messages that try to persuade you to send your password or credit card number are forged, even if they appear to be from your bank or system administrator. Log off after accessing corporate resources from a public device. Always remember to log off when you finish with secure websites. If you do not, the next person to use the computer will have access to your personal information. When you put a person's email addresses in the BCC rather than the CC window, none of the recipients can see the addresses of the other email recipients. New email users often rely too much on the to because it is the default way of sending emails. That is fine as long as you are writing to just one person. But if you are sending out mail to a diverse group of people, confusing BCC and CC raises some serious privacy and security concerns. It takes just one spammer to get a hold of the email, and immediately everyone on your email list gets spammed. Sometimes the mistake isn't in deciding between CC and BCC, but between hitting reply all instead of reply. When you hit reply all, your email message is sent to everyone included on the original email, and if you didn't intend to include them, the information might be bad from both a security and a personal humiliation perspective. Forwarding emails can be a great way to quickly bring someone up to speed on a subject without having to write up a summary email. But if you aren't careful, forwarding emails can create a significant security threat for yourself and the earlier recipients of the email. As an email is forwarded, the recipients of the mail, until that point in time, are automatically listed in the body of the email. As the chain keeps moving forward, more and more recipient IDs are placed on the list. Just because you delete an email message from your inbox and the sender deletes it from their sent inbox, it does not mean that the email is lost forever. In fact, messages that are deleted often still exist in backup folders on remote servers for years and can be retrieved by skilled professionals. So, start to think of what you write in an email as a permanent document. Be careful about what you put into writing, because it can come back to haunt you many years after you assumed it was gone forever. Don't click on suspect links. If a link looks hidden, or if it comes from an unfamiliar source, don't click it. It might take you to an unspecified location and possibly inject malware into your machine when you attempt to download the page. Be aware of any discrepancies in links that look mostly but not entirely familiar, such as Amazon with a 0 instead of Amazon with an O, and any other shortened links. It is important to be aware of any emails received that come from unknown senders. Each email should be treated with caution. It is a best practice to avoid opening any attachments from unknown senders, especially if they seem peculiar or out of context. These type of emails could be malicious. Spammers use a wide variety of clever titles to get you to open emails which they fill with all sorts of bad things. New email users often make the mistake of opening these emails. While never opening a phishing email is the best way to secure your computer, even the most experienced email user will occasionally accidentally open up a phishing email. At this point, the key to limiting your damage is recognizing the phishing email for what it is. Whatever form the phishing attempt takes, the goal is to fool you into entering your information into something which appears to be safe and secure, but in fact is just a dummy site set up by the scammer. Assuming you have already opened a phishing mail, do not reply or click on the link in the email. If you want to verify the message, manually type in the URL of the company into your browser instead of clicking on the embedded link. A common technique used by spammers is to send out thousands of fake newsletters from organizations with an unsubscribe link on the bottom of the newsletter. Email users who then enter their email into the supposed unsubscribe list are then sent loads of spam. So, if you don't specifically remember subscribing to the newsletter, you are better off just blacklisting the email address. Most new internet users are very careful when it comes to emails from senders they don't recognize. But when a friend sends an email, all caution goes out the window, as they just assume it is safe because they know that the sender wouldn't intend to hurt them. The truth is, an email from a friend's ID is just as likely to contain a virus or malware as a stranger's. The reason is that most malware is circulated by people who have no idea they are sending it, because hackers are using their computer. Malicious spam could even come from an email address spoofed, manipulated, to appear as if it is from someone within your organization. But one click of the mouse to open an infected Word document or PDF, and your PC may be infected. Often these emails are disguised as shipping confirmation notices, alarming notices from banks, tantalizing photos, mortgage scams, fake news alerts, and more. Anything to raise our curiosity and get us to open an email and click an attachment or link that only leads to trouble. Keep your data safe and be cautious. Phishing Awareness Video. Criminals have learned that the easiest way to hack into an organization, infect a computer, or gain access to important information like account numbers, passwords, or PIN numbers is simply to ask. A phishing attack usually starts with an email, an instant message, or an SMS from someone who claims to be a bank, online shop, or even your own organization. The message might ask you to click on a link or download and execute a file. You assume it is legitimate, so you subsequently click the link and log in to what appears to be the website from the organization you trust. At this point, the scam is complete and you have handed over the information to the criminal. The main key to avoid this is awareness. At first glances, the message or the website might look real using a known logo, layout, etc. However, detecting phishing attacks is not so difficult. Remember to look closely at the website address where you are redirected. To be on the safe side, you should type the address of the organization you want to visit yourself in the browser, or use browser favorites. Watch out for links that, when hovered over, show a domain that is not the same as the company sending the email. Read the content of the message carefully and be skeptical of all messages where you are asked to submit any sensitive data, verify information, fill out a form, or download and execute a file. Also, don't let the content of the message fool you. Attackers often try to scare you to get you to click on a link or reward you to get to your personal data. Additionally, check for incorrect spelling or grammatical errors within the email message or website. Companies usually never ask you to transmit sensitive data via web or mail. That's why you should never click on suspicious links or provide any sort of sensitive data. If you receive a message that appears like a phishing attack, you can either delete it, verify the message's content by contacting the organization through their traditional channel of communication, or forward the message to your IT security department for further analysis. The fact is that your company is already screening and filtering the majority of suspicious emails. However, phishing scams are a growing threat on the internet, and the bad guys are always developing new tactics to get through to your inbox. Keep in mind that in the end, you're the last and most important layer of defense against phishing attempts.
You have already heard of malware, hiding within downloads of websites, or appearing in your inbox as a harmless-looking email attachment. While most malware are designed to steal your confidential data, there is a new, even more dangerous attack out there: ransomware. Ransomware encrypts files or holds a computer hostage by restricting the access. After the system is kidnapped, the cyber criminals demand ransom money to restore the files or unlock the computer. So how do hackers pull this off? Quite simple, by exploiting the most vulnerable part of the organization: you and your fellow employees. When paying, the ransom is not an option. What can you do? Prevention is the key. Think before you click. Be a little skeptical when you see download links or advertisements. A hacker could have created them. Don't open mail attachments from unidentified senders or someone you don't trust. Never enable macros in office documents if you are not absolutely sure you know the sender. Never plug in USB devices from untrusted sources. Create regular backups of your data, but make sure you disconnect your external storage devices when not in use. If you follow these safeguards and report anything suspicious to your IT department right away, you do your part to protect us from ransomware.
Your mobile device doesn't just contain private information about you. It oftentimes contains sensitive information about our business. Here are a couple of tips on protecting your mobile device. To protect against viruses and malware, stay up to date on your updates. Always maintain the latest version of your mobile antivirus app, web browser, operating system. Many of us download apps that we use once and then forget. It's a good security practice to occasionally clean house and delete all the apps you no longer use. Use strong passwords, passcodes, or other features such as touch identification to lock your devices. Even if your device is lost, your email and other sensitive data is safe. Yep, they're watching you. Be aware of which apps you allow to access your information, as this information can be collected and used in a malicious way. And use the security and privacy settings on websites and apps to manage what is shared about you and who sees it. Disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when not in use, as these can be used to track your movements. Some retail stores are already using this to track their customers' movements inside their stores. Remember that public wireless networks and hotspots are not secure. Anyone could potentially see what you are doing on your laptop or smartphone while you are connected. Limit what you do on public Wi-Fi and avoid logging into key accounts like email or sensitive apps like your online banking. Consider using a virtual private network or VPN, or a personal or mobile hotspot if you need a more secure connection for your business-related activities. Fraudulent text messages or phishing, calls and voicemails are on the rise. Just as with email, mobile requests for personal data or immediate action are almost always scams. Install Remote Locate, Track, Lock, Wipe, Backup and Restore software to retrieve, protect or restore a lost or stolen mobile device and the personal data on that device. Configure your device to lock automatically after a period of time. Only those with knowledge of the passcode can unlock the device. Don't let your mobile devices be used by children, but if you do, consider disabling in-app purchasing. These downloads are made to appeal to kids but are often malware in disguise. Telephone calls using GSM technology, mobile standard for voice and data, are not eavesdrop-proof. If possible, avoid mobile phones when discussing confidential information. Be aware of your surroundings while you're on the telephone. Who might overhear? Bottom line, try to always be careful and stay alert to possible threats when handling mobile devices. When you are unsure, immediately direct your questions to your IT colleagues. They are your best resource. Password security video. So, let's talk about passwords. Passwords are like keys to your home, but online. You should do everything you can to prevent people from gaining access to your password. You can also further secure your accounts by using additional authentication methods. Dictionary programs are one of the many tools frequently used to crack passwords. A hacker will launch a dictionary attack by passing every word through a dictionary, which can contain foreign languages in addition to the entire English language, to a login program, hoping that a word will eventually match the correct password. Some passwords can be cracked instantly by computer software. Here is a list of the top 10 worst passwords. All of these passwords will be cracked instantly. Passwords become more secure as you add more layers of security to them. For example, if you use a password like Mankato, it would take about 4 minutes to be cracked. If we add an extra layer of security to our password, such as numbers or special characters, we get passwords that take much longer to crack. Want to know how to make your password secure? Tip 1. Don't use the same password over and over again. Passwords should be changed on a regular basis, at least twice a year. Primary reason is that if someone has cracked your password without you being aware of it, it makes them have to start all over again. A strong password is one that's never reused. Tip 2. Categorize your passwords in order to minimize the number of passwords you have to remember. but also to provide a barrier between systems with sensitive information and those with non-sensitive information. For example, you can use the same password for Gmail and Hotmail, but you should not use the same password for your online banking program. Password you have for your Hotmail or other internet email services should be different than the passwords you use on any work-related systems. Tip 3. It is important not to reuse passwords and to change your passwords on a regular basis. Tip 4. Instead of people guessing passwords, now computers are guessing passwords. For this reason, if your password is made up of words found in a dictionary, it is very easy for a computer to guess it and gain access to your account. Tip 5. A password should be at least 8 characters long. Tip 6. Moreover, use uppercase, lowercase, special characters and numbers in your password. Tip 7. Try not to reuse one of your last 5 passwords in any form of iteration. See examples on the screen. Tip 8. Avoid using things like your name, birthday, current year, current season, address, phone number, pet's name, or other information that may be on social networking profiles, public records, or otherwise easily found or guessed. Tip 9. If you absolutely need to write down a password, never store it in obvious places, such as address books, Rolodex files, under drawers or keyboards, or behind pictures. The worst, but all too common location, is a post-it note near the computer. Better locations are a safety deposit box or a locked file cabinet. Software is available for popular handheld computers that can store passwords for numerous accounts in encrypted form. Tip 10. Public computers may not always be securely configured and can pose a threat to your privacy by storing your password or web cookies. Think twice about going to a secure site if you cannot verify the security of the computer. Tip 11. Don't forget that getting passwords by manipulation of users is an example of social engineering. An attacker might telephone a user and say, "Hi, OIT here. We're doing a security test. Can we have your password so we can proceed?" Know that any reputable company you do business with will never ask you for your password, and rarely, if ever, need to know your password in order to perform the work. Keep your data safe and be cautious.
Wi-Fi security video. Public Wi-Fi is available just about everywhere. Local coffee shops, hotels, and airports, to name a few. It has made our lives easier, but it also poses security risks to the personal and company information available on our laptops and smartphones. You may think that public Wi-Fi is harmless, but using it for everyday activities that require a login, checking your social media, email, or bank account, can be a threat to your online security. Any information you enter could be stolen if the Wi-Fi connection is insecure. So, what are the risks of using public Wi-Fi? Man in the middle is where a hacker acts as a relay and intercepts your data through techniques like eavesdropping. It is one of the most common types of Wi-Fi security threats. You wouldn't notice anything amiss, but any information you enter into the websites you visit, including passwords, messages, and transactions, is captured and stored by the hacker. Another risk factor is infected laptops and other devices which may be connected to the local network. They put your device in danger through computer viruses or worms that jump from one device to another. Not all public hotspots are legitimate. Attackers can create an open network with a name similar to that of a nearby restaurant or hotel, misleading unsuspecting users into thinking they are connected to a free public Wi-Fi. Using these rogue hotspots, the attackers can push malware to any connected devices, or they can trick you into downloading malware via pop-ups or fake ads for a free software upgrade. A fake hotspot may look legit, down to the name and logo of the imitated establishment, but it's owned by hackers or cybercriminals. Connecting to it could expose all your activities on that network. Unencrypted plain text data may be intercepted and read by hackers with the correct knowledge and equipment. Encryption prevents that. So even if you're using a legit but unsecure hotspot, nearby hackers can get access to sensitive information like passwords and other authentication. Clear text transmission of data over unsecured Wi-Fi channels makes other kinds of information easy to intercept, modify, and steal. This would include corporate data, intellectual property, images, media files, and the content of unencrypted email or instant messages. So how can we protect ourselves? Tip 1. Use secure connections. Set your browsing preferences to only access websites that use a secure transmission. These are the sites that display an HTTPS prefix before the web address and a locked padlock symbol on your browser or app window. If not available, use a VPN, virtual private network provided by your company. Tip 2. Pay attention to SSL errors. Man-in-the-middle attacks for secured connections by SSL are easily detected because the SSL certificates necessary to create a secure connection to the remote website can't be forged. As a result, the user sees a string of error messages and warnings regarding the validity of the SSL certificate. Tip 3. Avoid malicious networks. If you need to use the hotspot at a public location, always make sure to inquire about the exact name of the network and the login procedure. Otherwise, you may become the victim of cybercriminals who may have set up a fake wireless access point to trap unsuspecting visitors at that location. Tip 4. Avoid sensitive access to data in public Wi-Fi. Limit your activities on public Wi-Fi and avoid logging in to email or sensitive apps like your online banking. Consider using a virtual private network, VPN, or a personal or mobile hotspot if you need a more secure connection for your business-related activities. Tip 5. Don't get tracked. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth can be used to track your movement, and some stores utilize this capability on their premises. If you don't want to be tracked, simply disable these features. Public Wi-Fi is convenient, but also risky to navigate. Hackers know how to trick the unsuspecting user and steal their login credentials, personal information, and other data via an ever-growing arsenal of attack tools. Knowing the risks and the steps you can take to eliminate them will help you navigate public hotspots securely and thus protect your personal and company data. Thank you for watching, and remember, security is everyone's job. Take it seriously.
How did you decide to become a hacker?
Well, I'm not really sure what it means to become a hacker. That's like some guy in a hoodie who types really fast and stays up all night writing code and cracking passwords. It's not me. I just spy on people and see what makes them click. It's not a bad job.
Mark Hanning, CEO of Qualicard, set to report earnings after their blockbuster IPO.
So you consider this a job?
I put a lot of work into this. I'm not lazy. It takes research to figure out the key players, learn all about them, their families, their friends, what they care about. You have to understand the company's organization. I get a lot of my information from the sales department because they're always so quick and eager. They're hungry. People trust too easily. They don't look at the details. I do. Details matter. That's what I'm good at. It has to look completely believable. It has to look familiar. This is where research is important. It's not some generic piece of spam. It's an email from their boss with their company's signature. It's written in the voice of the boss. It's what he would say if he were writing this.
What about the malware itself? How does that work?
Somebody else out there already wrote all the code that does the actual attack. I'm just using it in the attachment. My skill is in my ability to get a bunch of people to click on that attachment. I always wonder what it's like when the whole thing unfolds on their end, when the panic sets in.
Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, this is Rajiv in finance. Call me as soon as you get this. Something's up with my laptop. I can't.
Katie, are you on your way into the office? Something's going on with our file servers.
Karen in HR, our benefits
report things really slow. We're getting calls from users on it. Give me a call when you get this.
Joining conference now.
Apparently, there's a malware attack targeting our main...
It's ransomware. They're holding us hostage. We're locked out of everything. I can't even check my phone. What about the backup?
That will take days.
We need this fixed now. Pay it. We don't have a choice. We're reporting earnings in 2 hours.
But how do we know that they'll...
Pay it. Put every single person on getting us back up and running. That's the only priority now.
Okay, it's done.
I have the decrypt key. Mark, we have a big problem. The ransomware was just to distract us. They got inside. They got everything. Customer data, financials, everything.
Qualicards is reeling today from the news that hackers have released the personal information of nearly
The
2
Nasdaq
million
closed
customers.
lower today, led by Qualicart, which was down 14% on news that their recent data breach may be far worse than the company
Its stock
originally
fell to a
acknowledged.
new all-time low on news that CEO Mark Hanning is stepping down after what is turning out to be one of the worst breaches of personal information in recent history.
Do you feel bad about releasing the personal information? All the financials? All the money that was lost?
All I did was get the files. I'm not the one that decided to release them. I'm not the one that shorted the stock. Somebody else had their reasons for that. It's above my pay grade. I was paid to do a job, and I did it well. And that's what's expected of anyone, isn't it? Anyway, markets bounce back.
In this short security awareness video, we will give you a few tips on how you can help us stay secure. Tip number 1, follow a clean desk policy. Following a clean desk policy will help us reduce the risk of information theft, fraud, or a security breach caused by sensitive information being left in plain view. When leaving your desk, be sure to lock your computer and put away sensitive documents. Tip number 2, be aware when creating or disposing of paper documents. Sometimes an attacker might look through your trash, hoping to discover useful information that may allow access to your network. Sensitive documents must never be disposed in the waste paper basket. Also, don't forget, if you print a document, you should always pick up the printouts. Tip number 3, consider carefully what information you put out there. Practically anything you have ever posted on the internet can be discovered by cyber criminals. What might seem like a harmless post could help an attacker prepare a targeted attack against you. Tip number 4, prevent unauthorized people accessing your company. An attacker may try to gain access to the building by pretending to be an employee, visitor, or service personnel. If you see a person you don't know without a badge, don't be shy to approach them. Ask for their contact person so that you may verify their identity. Tip number 5, just because they know you doesn't mean you know them. Voice phishing occurs when trained fraudsters trick unsuspecting people into giving out sensitive info over the phone. Tip number 6, phishing scams. Don't bite. Through phishing, potential hackers might try to acquire information, such as usernames, passwords, or get you to download malware. Be especially cautious of emails that come from unrecognized senders. Never confirm personal or financial information over the internet. If you get a suspicious mail, do not open it. Forward it immediately to your IT security department. Tip number 7, prevent damage from malware. When you don't know or trust the sender, do not open mail attachments. Same goes for macros in Office documents. Never plug in USB devices from untrusted sources. If you follow these safeguards and report anything suspicious to your IT department right away, you do your part to protect us from cyber threats.